Please, dear friends, subscribe to my channel, Viral Story Hub.
Ha, that's the best pitch I've heard all day.
Viral Story Hub? All right, I'm in. Wonderful.
I'll be right back.
Cheers to that.
Inside a crowded restaurant, a powerful billionaire spoke in German, laughing loudly, thinking the waitress understood nothing. He smiled with rich friends, believing money made him untouchable, while the young waitress stood silent, writing orders calmly. She looked like another worker, tired and ignored, but her eyes held quiet strength shaped by family struggles and duty. No one noticed her hands shaking slightly as jokes continued, because humiliation hides behind polite service and forced smiles. The men joked about her accent and skin, assuming language was a wall protecting them from consequences and deep shame alone. The billionaire enjoyed the moment, unaware his words were sharp knives, cutting a woman carrying many stories within her life. Nearby diners laughed nervously, choosing comfort over courage, as silence became part of the cruelty at the table that day. The waitress remembered her mother saying, "Dignity survives even when respect is stolen by those who feel powerful inside." She finished writing the order, breathing slowly, deciding if silence would protect her family or destroy her self-worth forever. The room felt warm and loud, yet tension grew heavy because something unseen was about to flip power completely soon here. The billionaire leaned back proudly, still speaking German, convinced no one there could challenge his arrogance openly. At that table, fate waited quietly as the waitress prepared a choice that would change every life in the room forever there. The waitress walked away slowly, but every German word echoed clearly, each insult understood perfectly, stored deep inside her. Behind the counter, memories rushed back of nights studying languages, guided by a mother cleaning homes to fund her dreams. She had learned voices matter when silence feeds cruelty, and education was her shield against a world judging skin first. The billionaire's laughter followed her steps, confidence dripping, unaware his careless joke touched a long buried wound. Her father once said, "Respect is taken back, not begged for, when dignity is tested in public moments." She glanced at her phone, seeing her son's photo, reminding her why strength must look calm, not angry. In the kitchen, co-workers whispered, sensing tension, but none knew the storm forming behind her steady breathing. The order slip shook slightly as she rewrote it neatly, choosing patience over rage in that critical second. She replayed every sentence he spoke, translating them perfectly, knowing the power now rested quietly with her. The restaurant noise faded as her decision sharpened, fear mixing with courage earned through years of sacrifice. She adjusted her apron, lifted her chin, and turned back toward the table where laughter still lived comfortably. No one at that table knew the next word spoken would rewrite respect, shame, and power in seconds. She returned to the table calmly, posture steady, eyes clear, carrying plates while respect slowly shifted in the air. The billionaire smirked again, repeating a German joke louder, expecting laughter, not realizing the trap he set himself. She placed the glass gently, then replied in perfect German, repeating his words with calm accuracy and sharp clarity. Silence hit the table instantly, smiles froze, and the sound of cutlery stopped as shock replaced careless confidence. His face drained of color, realizing every insult had been understood, recorded, and now reflected back without anger. She continued speaking German, explaining dignity, work, and pride, her voice steady, controlled, and painfully respectful. Nearby tables turned quiet, attention pulled toward truth, unfolding without shouting or drama in that small moment. The billionaire tried to laugh it off, but guilt crept in as power slipped from his comfortable grip. She switched languages smoothly, addressing the room, reminding everyone respect needs no uniform or status. Her co-workers watched in disbelief, seeing strength rise from someone they thought had no voice here. The billionaire finally lowered his eyes, understanding money could not translate him out of shame today. In that silence, a lesson settled deep, and the balance of power quietly changed forever there. The manager rushed over nervously, sensing trouble, but the waitress raised a hand, choosing control over chaos. She spoke softly now, sharing her story, not to humiliate, but to reveal the cost of careless words. She told how her parents crossed borders, how language became survival, not luxury, not a party trick. The billionaire listened, jaw tight, as each sentence stripped layers of ego he wore like armor. She explained how service work feeds families, builds futures, and deserves respect, not jokes whispered in foreign tongues. Around them, diners nodded, some ashamed, some inspired, all aware they were witnessing truth unfold. The billionaire's son, seated quietly, looked at her with confusion, then at his father with disappointment. That look hurt more than public shame, cutting deeper than any words spoken back at him. For the first time, the billionaire felt small, exposed by the values he failed to teach. The waitress paused, letting silence teach what lectures never could in that heavy moment. She ended calmly, saying languages open doors, but kindness keeps them open for generations. The room exhaled slowly as guilt, reflection, and change began wrestling inside one powerful heart. The billionaire finally spoke, voice low, admitting he forgot how words can wound deeper than loss or failure ever did. He looked at his son again, realizing wealth taught comfort, not character, and this moment exposed that gap painfully. He apologized publicly, not to save face, but because pride felt heavier than shame for the first time here. The waitress listened without smiling, knowing apologies matter only when followed by changed behavior over time. She nodded once, accepting the words not as victory, but as closure for years of quiet disrespect endured. The restaurant felt different now, like a lesson had passed through every table and settled into memory. Other diners clapped softly, not for drama, but for courage, shown without shouting or insults exchanged. The billionaire stood up slowly, thanking her for teaching what success failed to teach him at home. He promised his son that night would not be forgotten or excused by money or status again. The waitress returned to work, dignity intact, knowing strength sometimes looks like calm endings, not fights. Her co-workers smiled proudly, seeing how grace can disarm power without raising a single fist. That night marked the start of regret for one man and quiet pride for a family watching afar. Days later, the story spread quietly online, not as scandal, but as a lesson about respect crossing language and class. The billionaire could not sleep, replaying the silence, his son's eyes, and the woman's calm strength again and again. At home, he spoke with his family, admitting failure, realizing leadership begins in private, not boardrooms or stages. He funded language programs for service workers, not for praise, but to honor what he had mocked carelessly before. The waitress returned to her routine, bills waiting, life unchanged, except her children saw pride in her eyes. She told them, "Dignity is defended calmly, not loudly, when values are stronger than fear inside you." Her son shared the story at school. Learning courage wears ordinary uniforms, not capes or titles. The restaurant staff felt safer, knowing silence is a choice, but speaking truth can reshape spaces. The billionaire visited again, alone this time, ordering respectfully, listening more than speaking. He thanked her quietly, understanding redemption is earned through actions repeated, not one apology made. She nodded politely, showing forgiveness does not erase memory, but allows growth to move forward. Both walked away changed, carrying a lesson heavier than money, lighter than shame, and deeply human. Months passed, but that night stayed alive, reshaping choices quietly inside homes, offices, and family conversations. The billionaire changed hiring rules, teaching respect first, skills second. Knowing culture defines true leadership always. His son grew kinder, correcting friends when jokes crossed lines, carrying that lesson like inherited responsibility. The waitress advanced roles, not because of the incident, but confidence gained from honoring herself fully. She trained new staff, teaching patience, strength, and the power of education beyond textbooks alone. Customers treated workers better, aware someone listening may understand more than they assume casually. The restaurant became known for warmth, not luxury, where dignity felt served with every meal shared. The billionaire never forgot her calm voice, measuring success now by impact, not applause or profit. She never forgot the pain either, but transformed it into guidance for her children's future. Both lives moved forward, linked by one moment that rewrote values without violence or revenge. That night proved power shifts when courage meets control, not anger or humiliation, ever. Respect returned quietly to the table, finally seated where it always belonged. Never assume silence means ignorance or language limits the depth of someone's humanity and strength. Words spoken carelessly can travel further than money, power, or borders ever will. True wealth is teaching respect at home before demanding it from the world outside. Dignity does not shout. It stands calm, even when mocked by louder voices. Education is armor, but character decides how that armor is used daily. Power without empathy becomes weakness the moment truth speaks back. Apologies matter only when followed by actions repeated consistently over time. Children learn values not from success, but from how adults treat the powerless. Respecting workers respects families, futures, and unseen sacrifices behind uniforms. Kindness spoken in any language is always understood by the human heart. Redemption begins when ego listens instead of defending itself blindly. Remember, the strongest voice is the one that speaks with dignity, not dominance.